Bryant. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
I need some energy in the chat, Blake. This is a 1-0 physical tackle football team. And I know you saw this earlier today. Trenton Richardson talking about that offensive lineman. You know
I
what?
didn't. I didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see that? So he was on an Alabama show, and he said that it was frustrating when he saw, and you know this as an offensive lineman, when you pancake someone, you
I
slowly just
saw the
kind of.
clip of the Florida State player doing what he did.
I was happy that LSU was able to do that some this weekend. We played some physical ass tackle football, baby. Shout out to Bernard Gooden. Shout out to Jack Pyburn. Shout out to that offensive line. Patrick Payton also doing the damn thing. It's so much harder to dominate the trenches when you're on the road, Blake, especially when it's as juiced up as it was at Clemson, especially considering every LSU fan that we all knew that was at that game was sitting next to Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Are you freaking kidding me? I better see the LSU fans or the Clemson fans next year in Tiger Stadium. They better be sitting in Mars. They better be sitting in Uranus. I mean, goodness great, can LSU, at least one LSU fan get a decent seat? It was crazy, but the truth is, Blake, that was one of the best road victories in LSU football history, understanding the pressure, the time, and the situation. And I give Brian Kelly, outside of that one massive mistake, a lot of credit for the messaging on and off the field to get this team ready to go.
Well, look, and he owned it. He owned the
Yes.
mistake. They should have kicked the field goal.
Yes. And it's sad because his analytical model told him to go for it. We talked about this privately earlier today, Blake.
Screw that analytical model.
Yes, you have to factor in rationality. And I tweeted out at the time, I was like, oh, God, the model's going to tell him to go for it. And it's like, you don't go for it there. You always kick the field goal there. Even if you have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce,
Well, I don't mind going for it. I mind that you threw a screen route to Chris Hilton when you had other players that are more shifty than him.
Right. You go down with that play as well. It's insane to me. But Blake, from a film perspective, we know you've watched it. I've watched it through and through. That was one of the better coach games of the Brian Kelly regime.
Oh, no doubt.
And here's the thing. All the other season opener games were not coached well. They were coached atrociously. There was a bunch of big errors being made. And after all the false start penalties and the timeouts, things really cleaned up in that second half. And honestly, Blake, this game was about the little things. You know, you've tweeted it out some of the little clips from players like Kyle Parker making big blocks, Donovan Green having a huge block on Peter Woods to help out Weston Davis to get Caden Durham in there.
Even Weston Davis, I mean, this is why I tweeted this out about Weston Davis holding the hands of Peter Woods and then making him do the chicken dance, because he catches his hands and then brings them in and he's got nowhere to go. And then he gets a rib shot by Donovan Green. He does not score without Weston Davis, who I thought played against TJ Parker, and Peter Woods had some really good reps in hand placement.
Right. And then one other guy, Caleb Jackson, on a Xavion run.
Yeah, hit Peter Woods.
Had a huge block.
Yeah.
And you got to be fearless. And the funny thing is Caleb is massive for a running back. But, you know, Peter Woods is massive. And those little things obviously come together for you to win a game. And honestly, Blake, you do have to shout out Garrett Nussmeier and Caden Durham.
Yeah.
That dude, you know, Caden's run on the first play of the game is one of the better LSU runs or broken tackles I can remember to really set the tone. You can look at the sideline, LSU going crazy. I know that the LSU staff was really fired up about that play. It was so big, right? It let everyone know that we're here. We're going to try and run the football. And what was funny was I really felt that play gave the LSU blocking some momentum, because they're like, okay, we did not block that play well. Now imagine if we do block plays well, we're going to get some good runs. And that really helped LSU get this run game going, which was critical.
All right, well, let's stay on the offensive side of things. What was the thing that stood out to you the most offensively against Clemson?
There were some guys, Blake, that made themselves so valuable to this team where it's going to be hard to take them off the field, right? Obviously, Barian Brown made some big plays. Aaron Anderson's the best receiver on this team. But Xavier Thomas, that was, this term, and Blake, cliches are just so overused in sports. But Swiss Army knife is what Xavier Thomas was.
No, it's exactly what he was.
He drew a pass interference penalty for a first down. Huge block on a Juwan Johnson run down the left sideline. Carried the ball 3 times for 26 yards. Also had a huge reception on a dig route from Garrett Nussmeier. Also drew a pass interference flag that got a first down. And then also had the tackle after the Chris Hilton fumble where he stuck his head in there, took a big hit. Who knows? Maybe the Clemson guy is able to get his feet and take that to the house going the other way. There's just guys like that it's really hard to take them off the field because they do those little things. And, he had a punt return as well. Almost forgot that. It's ridiculous how good he was in this game. And then obviously offensively, Braylon Moore, it's huge, absolutely huge to go from the center play you had last year to where you are now. SEC Offensive Player of the Week, where Braylon Moore was fantastic in this game. Like, center play means more to you than basically anyone else in the LSU beat. You know how difficult this position is, and it was a position
got so vertical,
right? And
got vertical a lot in the run game.
And here's the thing: is this is not me, piling on LSU last year. They just did not have those games at center last year. And Braylon was fan-freaking-tastic. And it's so big. It is so big. It helped everyone get organized. He was a leader out there in a very difficult matchup. The snaps were mostly good. And then, offensively, Garrett is just Garrett. The turnovers weren't there, which was really good. And to your point about getting vertical, all right, you are so right. Because this game plan is easy to work around, right? You're not just going to be able to screen to death a lot of teams like LSU was able to do versus Clemson. Teams know that you now have that in your arsenal. You now have to pair that with some vertical shots. Now, in LSU's defense, they did try some of those vertical shots off those screens. Clemson defended them well. So that's where a guy like Chris Hilton is still going to be involved.
Why are we throwing – but here's the thing. Why are we throwing fade shot? I get the pass interference on Wood-ass. That's one thing. Why are we throwing a fade to trade as on against a safety? Like, I get it. I get it. Why not put Chris or Barry on there? Like, if you're going to throw it 45 yards out, freaking throw that thing.
Right. So you're talking about the slot fade in the first.
I'm talking about the slot fade to the right in the first half that stalled the drive. Like you get a 25-yard run and then you go vertical with Trey Dez. Why not get Barry on in that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I will say Trey Dez was tugged on that play, but that's not.
But it was so badly overthrown. Not saying Garrett had bad. I mean, it was 7 yards out of bounds. I mean, it's not catchable.
It wasn't a great throw. You want a faster player in that spot,
right?
But I think Chris still is going to have a role. That's been the number one question I've had is, well, what do you think about Chris Hilton? Or why didn't so and so play more? We won the game. The game plan was perfect. But there still is going to be a role for Chris moving forward because of the vertical option that he gives this offense.
Look, Clemson was not great in the run game defensively a year ago. They just weren't. I think this offensive line is still up in the air to me because of the fact that you got Florida coming into town in a couple of weeks. And I've already been on record in the preseason saying that it's of my opinion that Florida's defensive line is the best. And I said this on Ruffino and Joe, like all offseason. I thought that they were better. They're a better defensive line than what Clemson had. I think Caleb Banks is way far better than Peter Woods, and I think Sapp is more physical in the run game than anything that you got from TJ Parker. But to your point, I thought that they did not a good job on some of these runs. Even Mabanga did an elite job of cleaning out the trash. What do I mean by that? I've been talking about this all offseason. Braylon Moore cleans out the trash. It's like D3 Mighty Ducks when they got a new coach. Defensively, clean out the trash for run lanes. The long run by Xavion, the first run where he got vertical and went backside, that play last year gets blown up because Paul Mabanga does not clean up the trash. You already have two guys that have gotten vertical with Thompson, and you got another guy in Braylon Moore that got vertical on I think it was Woodaz earlier in that. Mabanga's block on the opposite side, 3-tech, is just so massive that sparks that for some of the – I know it sounds crazy, but for some of those, you're not going to move a lot of people around like that. You're going to have to hit cutbacks. But I thought getting Xavion the football early in the run game is something we saw a lot in camp and that they got to continue to do, because I do think you might be a little deficient at that second running back spot, and that's why you replicated the run game. All those screens to Juwan Johnson is just replicating the run game.
It is, yeah.
It's all that you're going numbers on numbers. So, and then they hit him with Aaron Anderson, and God forbid if we didn't have a penalty on that second Aaron Anderson screen, he's going for 7. He's gone for 7. There's nobody there. And so I thought, here's what I think about you offensively, and I'll kick it back over to you.
No, let's go.
Did I feel like that you left so much shit on the field and you didn't even open it up?
Yeah, I mean, LSU, this was my favorite thing, is they were the better team for 4 quarters of that game. It never really felt like LSU wasn't in control, right? And I just keep going back to not only being the better team on the field, not only the calls not going in your favor, and, fans tend to overrate the whistle, but it really didn't go. A lot of the 50-50 stuff didn't go in LSU's favor.
At all.
But, 3 of their points were the Bauer Sharp fumble, which you give a lot of credit. You saved 4 extra points chasing it down. And then they had one drive on you, basically, where Foster Moreau rightfully pointed out that there should have been a blindside block penalty on that pick play. So really, I mean, LSU dominated this game for 4 quarters, and it was a lot of their own self-inflicted wounds. And it goes back to the viral Dabo quote from earlier today, right? The 65 versus 58 thing. I will say, I hope he's right. I hope he's right that this was us only at 65%. Are you kidding me? If that is true, LSU has a legitimate shot of doing something truly, truly, truly special. Now, I don't agree with that. Obviously, you should factor in time and situation and understanding the magnitude of it being a season opener. But what if he is right? What if it is, hey, we could
then you're playing for a national title. That's what it means.
Yeah. Yes. And
because as scary as it sounds, it means the defense is going to be better too.
Yeah. And look, you give so many different people a lot of credit. The tight end play was really good in this game from LSU. Blocking wise, it was really good. So
the one thing I'll say, the Trades block on TJ Parker on that first run, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave it alone because
I need to like to watch it.
All right. I mean, he's pushing. Brother, I don't give a shit. You dominated them sometimes. There were some points in times where you just bent them over and cleft them cheeks. I mean, I'm just being real. And you know what I saw, too? I saw an offensive line that's going to get better at left guard and right tackle. I thought Weston Davis had an okay game. There were some points and times, though, that I'm like, all right, that's a 5-star. Like, legitimately. Like, I felt like I was watching early Emory Jones in a way of like, all right, he got beat here. Oh, but it was so aggravating. The next play, he drives Will Anderson off the football, right? Like, those are some things I felt like I saw. You got to be better there, and you're going to get tested in 2 weeks. So it'll be interesting. All right, let's get to the main crux of this. Do you know what Harold Perkins and Blake Baker and Bernard Gooden and Don McKinley, who I thought had a bigger game that nobody's talking about, and Jack Pyburn and the Weeks brothers and Mansour Delane and AJ Halsey and Tamarcus Cooley and DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland said to the entire country on Saturday? We're back. Carter, what did we see from this LSU defense?
Yeah, that's one of the best LSU defensive performances of all time. Like, I know that sounds like hyperbole, but understanding where we were as a defense, this being their first game, Blake dialing up a bunch of nasty stuff. He was fantastic with his calls. The
PJ Woodland one, I know it's the first drive of the game. That's beautiful. And then that play really should have been an assist to Jack Pyburn.
Right.
If Pyburn does not pull out Tristan Lee, he does not come in the D gap and make that sack. It was a sacrificial play by Jack Pyburn.
And BK brought that up earlier too.
I know.
And it's crazy. Woodland was fantastic in his own right. And look, AJ Halsey really got this team lined up ready to go, along with Jordan Gilbert stepping in the first half. It really was that great of a defensive game. I think it'd be silly to say that this Clemson offense is going to be a 30-point per game offense in all their other games. It really was that good. Bernard Gooden just tore people apart. Patrick Payton did a lot of good things where he had a bunch of almost plays, but those pressures really
forced
affected.
The pick.
Right.
He forced the pick. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was partially Blake Baker sending the blitz to get him open to create that pressure. It was a really, really, really good defensive performance. And on top of that, it is nice that the LSU defensive back group is not only competent. What do we say all offseason, Blake? We just want competency. We just want John Battle out there. We just want decent. But this could be a spectacular group. This could be a group, while it may not be as good as like 2011, that was when it was the norm. We have had some defensive back withdrawals, if you will. And now that Mansour Delane is just shutting down one side of the field, it just gives you so much more freedom to do whatever you want to do defensively. If you're able to play lockdown man-to-man coverage on the back end, you can get so exotic on the front end. And here's something that's interesting is a guy like Whit Weeks, who missed a few plays here or there. He's just so difficult to block, even when you do pick him up in pressure.
And Donovan Keys gave him really good reps to where he could take off. Carter, the thing to me was, we're not talking about this a lot. The depth that LSU defensively had and the rotations that they ran out there gave everybody hey man, I've only played 45 plays. Like I'm a lot fresher than you are. And I think it really affected how things turned out. I will tell you this to your Mansour thing and what we saw in that secondary. Yes, I thought even Jordan Gilbert, played good. I thought the tackle that he made on the Klubnik scramble saved you a drive. I mean, Jordan Gilbert's not making that tackle a season ago. No. Here's the thing. PJ Woodland's going to start getting attacked more, and so is DJ Pickett. I think teams are going to start throwing their direction, and you got to be good. You don't have to be special. You don't have to be Derek Stingley on the opposite side of Christian Fulton, but I will remind you, I get it's 2019 that I'm comparing this to. Remember early in the season, a lot of teams threw at Christian Fulton early and did not late. Teams started taking shots legitimately at Stingley and saying, hey, young buck, figure it out. We know you're talented, but figure it out. They're about to do that to DJ and PJ. They're 100% going to start opening it up to them, because now it would be malpractice unless Mansour just has an off night, but it would be malpractice to not start attacking the other boundary corner. The problem is, even in the connection to Wesco, I thought it was still really freaking good coverage on the knee, the play where the knee was down.
That's not a catch either. The Wesco play, I I could go.
If you didn't have longer than the second until the ball came out, the problem is he's down, and you have a full second of possession.
It's just if there's ball fighting, if you will, I'm always going to lean towards.
Even so,
The coverage
though,
was good. Your point
the
is
coverage was good, and I don't want to fight over the semantic of it. Who cares at this point? But God, it was really good coverage. I mean, man, I hope that I just want him to. I want him to pitch a shutout this week. I'm going to ask you about Louisiana Tech in a minute. I want him to pitch a shutout. Like stay aggressive. Let's turn the page on the defense for just a second. I got to ask you some individual questions. Let's talk about a couple of players whose films were ridiculous. Harold Perkins. My God. Carter, we talked about this in the preseason. He's all over the place in practice. And the question was, Blake Carter, is this going to translate in games? Hello. Carter, they're running a 4-3 in a lot of regards. And West is coming off, and they're making Harold very dynamic in this nickel package. Harold Perkins played his ass off, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of the best closers in LSU history. It feels like
he's always coming in like a rocket ship, dude.
Mariano Rivera, Enter Sandman, Harold Perkins in the fourth quarter.
And everybody knows he's throwing a cutter, and you can't stop it.
Can't do it. I mean, you go back Florida 2022, Auburn, obviously Arkansas, and now we're here. Arkansas in 2023 as well. That was wrongly called for a penalty. He's truly a one-of-one type of athlete, and hopefully it keeps getting better. He seemed comfortable in coverage. I thought Clemson would run a play called Hoss Juke quite a bit. It's a Patriot staple. LSU runs it quite a bit, where it's going to be Perk lined up against a slot receiver, and he did pretty well in that situation. They tried to do it a few times, and
Harold Perkins out of the backfield a couple of times, and he was in coverage.
And he held his own. Now, will that continue? I think it can, because look, that was the team that you would think would be able to take advantage of it. A quarterback an experienced quarterback with 3 receivers back and an OC who knows the offense. Now, I mean, how many slot receivers just petrify you? I know
Concepcion would probably be the only one right now.
Yeah, I mean, I know Eugene Wilson's interesting at Florida, but still, I think, and I keep going back to Mansour Delane. If you have one corner that just shuts down one side of the field, it gives you a lot more help just basically everywhere else.
But I don't think Perkins is able to do what he does, because when they went a shitty slot guy, they would put Tamarcus Cooley on him.
Right. And look, it doesn't really matter if Cooley gets beat or Perkins gets beat. It's going to happen. I will say to the other side of it, I do think Cade missed quite a bit of stuff in this game that was given to him, and obviously LSU will clean that up. There were a few busts that Cade just missed, and that right there was something that really stood out to me, Blake. Everyone made this a Garrett Nussmeier versus Cade Klubnik thing, and Garrett just outclassed him in every way imaginable.
He did.
And what's hilarious is he was a better runner than Cade in this game. Right? Cade had a few scrambles in this game, but you would have never thought that Garrett would have some of the plays with his legs. His own read pull was absolutely a thing of beauty that we've all been calling for. You yourself tweeting insistently about it, and we finally get it. And just showing that on tape is going to help out the LSU run game as well. So
it literally did on Xavion's second run. Newsflash.
It does change things that a quarterback is just able to pull it, and just even you just falling down after you picking up the 7 or 8 yards. It just opens so much up.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Garrett in a deep segment in just a minute with you. But
okay, yeah, let's get to it. Let's go.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, to finish on Perkins though. I mean,
it was a fantastic game. And one other thing is, I still think there is a world where you can still in some third down packages really shock some teams to just line them up and rush them off the edge. And even though you have so many great edge rushers, there's limitless opportunities for LSU.
There was a snap where they went 4 edge guys. They went Perk, Pyburn, Butler, Payton.
And the funny thing is, and before we get to Garrett, I do think one thing as play callers that people forget is play calling is oftentimes storytelling in many ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we watch other football games that aren't LSU and we aren't watching every snap, it's important to note that every play affects the next play in some way, right? It may be some, it may be a lot. Like if you show a look, do something else. LSU offensively did a really good job of telling a story, right? And the story was, hey, we're going to throw a lot of screens. We're going to throw a lot of things to the running backs out of the backfield. But what we're also going to do is show you that look and do different things. The Aaron Anderson play was exactly that.
The Baryon screen. They thought they were throwing it to Caden, right?
Right. And, that was actually one big thing. I said it on your show last week was Clemson really struggled throwing to the running backs out of the backfield. And even though, Juwan had a few catches, even though that's not what hurt Clemson, a lot of what they did offensively was built off of that threat of throwing to Caden out of the backfield. So you go to the defensive side, LSU did a really good job of telling a story with Harold Perkins because Clemson was always worried about where he was, and they did a good job not just sending him every time. And when he actually was sent, Clemson wasn't fully ready for it. And that goes for pretty much everyone. That one PJ Woodland blitz sets the tone for the rest of the night, where the offensive line is thinking, well, the corner blitz might come. And when you get it, it's so important why the Garrett Nussmeier, you pull it once, the defense has to worry about it the rest of the game. Let's go back to the Patrick Payton play. Okay. When someone like PJ Woodland blitzes from one angle, guess what? The offensive line is always going to be worried about blitzes. And guess what? They had 5 guys to block 5 guys, but 2 of them were worried about West or with Weeks. And that actually might be the call. You block it inside out, and they both took Weeks. And now you
always squeeze.
You always squeeze, right?
Squeeze, right.
Right. Sometimes you got to squeeze.
Squeeze that hiney.
Yeah. So I think
LSU. Our call was called clinch because you clinch, you squeeze, you clinch your butt cheeks, you squeeze your butt cheeks. Clinch was our call for all out.
And the offensive line was guessing. Now, one final thing on the offensive line. Tristan Lee was abused. Oh, yes. My goodness.
Well, the play with Pyburn and Perk when they met the running back in the hole, Tristan Lee got abused.
It was bad. And, man, that recruiting.
Pyburn, Jesus, Marion Joseph. His physicality alone, the 3rd and 5 run where they try to run power and he blew it up, and it was PJ Woodland. PJ Woodland runs or in wet weeks runs it down, and he can't get anywhere. It doesn't. Some of this shit doesn't happen without Pyburn,
right?
And just his ferocity. I mean, Pyburn's film. When you look at it, I know you pointed this out some, but he set up so much shit with his aggressiveness.
Yeah, and honestly, you're going to start seeing his real value.
You saw
coming up, right? You saw some of it, but man, against the run, he's just a game changer. He is one of the best 2-gap squeeze down the run defensive ends you'll see. And I know I'm biased towards
his
Jack,
leverage is elite. He's got elite
really good.
Yeah. I thought really Don McKinley and I thought the whole D line. I mean, we didn't really get to Bernard Gooden because I want to get to Garrett.
Yeah.
Bernard Gooden, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You talked about Jesus, Mary, and Joseph earlier. Bernard Gooden, hello. You are Carter, hello. I told you, brother. I mean, listen, people thought I was out here being crazy. He whipped our offensive line's ass. He was obliterating their ass. he didn't make quote unquote plays, but Jesus, he was disruptive, dude. I mean, good Lord. And none of that gets set up without Don McKinley. None of it. Because he can play that 3-tech, and Dom, they're so worried about Dom in the middle, and he ate blocks, but he ate blocks beautifully. He just, I mean, it was beautiful display. But Bernard Gooden, good Lord, dude.
Yeah, and it was nasty. He looked like
ragdolled.
It looked like a guy that wore 72 once.
All right, calm down.
Some of the players. Now he's not. I don't think he's that good. I'm just saying some of those.
Good Lord,
it was violent.
The run play, was it Klubnik? I think it might have been Gideon. The run play where he physically just like manhandles the guard on the outside run. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
I'll send it to you on Twitter. I think Coach Dan Casey posted this on Twitter. There is a run play where he picks up the guard and throws him to the left, and the running back's got to cut it out. He's got to cut it outside, and Perkins obliterates the human being.
The pass rush where he just threw the guard over the right guard, it was just nasty. He was filthy. He was really good.
You did to Clemson what teams did to you a year ago.
Yeah. Games are won in the middle.
They're one in the middle. Before I get you out of here, we got to talk about Garrett. The biggest storyline, or one of the biggest storylines for me coming out of camp, and I told you a lot of this off camera, and now I'm going to bring it up personal. 3 days into camp, we are on the phone talking on the way home from practice. The maturity level. I mean, Carter, I don't care what that is his best performance to date. Everybody will talk about the 350, 400-yard games, the 4-touchdown games, the Georgia second half. No. The best game Garrett Nussmeier has ever had just existed. He was in full control. You know how I know? When Tyree Adams came out, the protection things that he did with Caden Durham and Tradez Green on TJ Parker, and then to know DJ's going to give up this rush, I got to move right and hit Kyle Parker, is not good, not great. It's elite shit. It shows me that somebody's matured. On the 3 plays that DJ Chester came in, Tradez checked TJ Parker, Caden Durham checked him, and there was the one that he hit the check down to Durham, and it went for 11. Him knowing everything and him being in full control sets you up for something special. I'm telling you, he was on his bag. He knew everything that was coming.
Yeah, and you go back to Jaden's big jump. You listen to the interviews that Jaden did. He was talking about specifically the things that he needed to do to get better. And Garrett specifically said, "Hey, I need to run more. I need to get out of my comfort zone and run more, not make the game-changing mistakes."
Well, it's not the biggest thing he worked on. I'm told that the biggest thing he worked on was knowing exactly what they were doing. An understanding of protections was the biggest thing that he worked on all offseason. That's what I'm told.
And one thing I will say as far as Garrett is the deep ball accuracy to Berrien Brown was elite. One of his best throws he has ever made.
The best throw he's made since the one to Georgia to Malik. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, that one was special. The cover 2 hole shot. It was crazy.
Yes.
No. Dude, it was truly quarterback mastery. And it was just all the little things, all the checks. And I know that can lead to penalties, but now, especially with an offensive line where you want as many advantages as you can for that group, you want him doing that, right? And he was rarely wrong. Now, to your point, did he get away with a few? Yeah, he got away with a few. In particular, he needs to work on when ends drop out on those outs. That was probably his worst mistake. There's a few other risky ones, but
the one to Terrell to Aaron Anderson in the first half.
Yeah, that was tough.
Almost got picked.
That was tough. And yeah, he got a little lucky, but it wasn't as many interceptable throws that you would see in a Garrett game. But the processing is incredible. He is still, to me, one of the best college quarterbacks at throwing over the intermediate middle, and we saw
No
it.
doubt.
Again. It is truly insane, the processing power that he has. And it's also insane, Blake, because third and longs are hard. You know, the third and long conversion to Berrien was big. And he doesn't have the so for instance, I do a lot of Taylor Green breakdowns of Arkansas. He converts so many third and longs just with his legs, right? Same thing with Sellers and so on and so on. Garrett is a better third and long quarterback than those guys, and he doesn't have that type of speed to just run out of a situation. The fact that he's always able to find an answer on these third and longs are crazy. LSU was 4-11 on third down in this game, but still you saw what this man could do as a quarterback for LSU. So you saw all the little things that he does, and hopefully those continue, and it will continue this weekend versus Louisiana Tech.
Got to get vertical, Carter.
Yeah.
Got to get vertical.
And that's the hard pill to swallow if you're an LSU fan watching this. And this would be a major takeaway from anything that I say tonight is, yes, that was an amazing game plan to get through that first game. And yes, this LSU team is good enough. I think now, Blake, since you've won this game, and since we know that some of these teams on our schedule had some tough action in this first week, most notably Alabama, would you agree with me? LSU, it would be a colossal failure if they're not at least a 10-2 team. Colossal failure.
At this point, yes.
Yes.
But you don't know what Florida is. You don't know what South Carolina is. Here's the truth. You don't know what Bama is right now.
Oh, so you think this could be a buy low for Bama right here?
No. I'm just very reluctant to give up on teams in week one. I don't care who they are. I'm not giving up on a team in week one. That team still lost to 6-6 Vandy a year ago. We still lost to Troy, and then the following week beat Florida.
Yeah.
Let's just pause. We want them to be complete ass.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course. We want Alabama to be complete ass. I want Bama to be complete ass as an LSU fan. I don't think we're that lucky. Like, I still think that they got enough athletes to where you look at them and you're coming off a bye week. They're coming off a bye week. What do you do there? However, I don't think you're losing I don't think you're losing 3 games in the next 11 weeks. No.
Okay. Yes. So this team has got to make the playoff this year.
I mean, yeah, they do.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yes, they do.
Okay. That's the only reason I'm here. I just want to.
Yes, they have to see how fun the playoff is now, Mr. I don't like the playoff.
Well, no. I want my team to go to the college. It's not that I hate the playoff. It's just not everything to me.
I have a video of you saying, Blake, the playoff means absolutely nothing to me. Now that your team's
to the regular season, it does
go to the playoff. You're like, my God, I love the playoff now.
I want my team to go to the playoff, yes, but I'm not too worried. We won't get into the 8 versus 9 debate, but what I will say is I just got done watching the Oklahoma film, and 32 carries for 103 yards in a win.
Carter, their offensive line got dominated.
Dude, it was crazy to me.
Well, hold on. That Oklahoma offensive line also did something to Alabama going up there. I'm not. Let's just hold off. We got a lot of.
I know. I'm giving them grace. because
let me just tell you this: you
we'll
get past Ole Miss and you're 4-1 or 5-1, whatever it would be at that time. Actually, it'd probably be you might be 5-0 going into Ole Miss. You get there, you beat Ole Miss. Yeah, you better not. You better.
Yeah. So yes. So if you beat Ole Miss, you'll be 5-0.
Carter, Austin Simmons threw 2 picks Saturday. By the way, they gave up 191 yards rushing. Did Ole Miss 191?
Well, I bet they're under on their win total. So that was kind of that was more of a defensive bet than offensive bet. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like you. You never want to take too much away from week one victory because this could.
What if Florida State wins the ACC?
Dude,
you could say, oh, well, what? I mean, why do we have to assume that Florida State still sucks? But the thing is, that team also got beat by Vanderbilt last year.
I will also say that I'm glad people are starting to witness the greatness of Gus Malzahn. I've always been a Gus bus driver. What'd you say?
We're going through all this for Gus Malzahn to be the head coach of Arkansas next year.
Blake, you want to get down into that history? It's a juicy one.
No, not really, because I'm ready.
It's so the It is funny though that Eli Drinkowitz at the University of Arkansas. He's a Springdale, Arkansas guy, and Malzahn is a Springdale, Arkansas guy. He actually started in Arkansas Springdale high school football. I don't know if he'd ever take it because I don't think he likes him. But,
what does Florida look like this week versus South Florida? That's the real question.
So this has been, and this was in my chat earlier tonight that I think Alexander, who might be in here, he's betting the house on USF this weekend. The Golshius. You're wearing ghost green. You're wearing ghost green.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls. The Fighting Jason Pierre-Pauls. Let's go. Or I should say, let's go, Jason Pierre-Paul.
Let's go, Jason Pierre-Paul.
Did you get it as a firework joke?
Carter, everybody got it. Just because I didn't laugh doesn't mean
Just because your joke doesn't land doesn't mean that nobody didn't hear it.
I bombed.
It's like if a bear shits in the woods, does anybody smell it? No, because nobody's there.
Yeah.
Does a tree fall in the woods? Does it make noise? Yes, it makes noise. But if no one's there to hear it, then how do you know?
No, you don't. You know,
yeah, no clue.
God is the only expert. Yeah.
See you on Monday or Tuesday next week.
Right,
I have
buddy.
no idea what we're doing. See you, buddy.
One final thing, Blake.
Okay.
I want people to know that Arch Manning, is he going to turn it around? I just got to know. I just got to get your opinion.
Again, brother, hold on. Do you think Garrett Nussmeier is one of, if not the best quarterback in college football right now? Yes or no?
Oh, he's clearly
stop.
One or two.
He threw 2 pick sixes versus Southern. This is the first time this kid's starting. Stop.
But did he not start 3 games last year?
No, he started 2 against the 2 worst teams on their schedule.
ULM and Mississippi
State. And he threw 2 picks against ULM. So this isn't anything that we don't know. Again, Garrett threw multiple picks against Southern. He threw multiple picks against South Alabama a year ago. Doesn't mean that guys can't progress. We got to stop with this, man. The only reason he's taken as much heat as he's taken is because he's a Manning. The only reason he got the hype that he got was because he was a Manning.
But some of
he's
those
still a quarterback.
Some of those throws were just there, and it was just
Carter. How can you have watched Garrett Nussmeier throw 2 pick sixes versus Southern and say a kid can't develop?
No, I'm not saying he can. It's just I just don't think
y'all stop with that. Y'all stop with that.
No. I still think he's good. I still think he's going to be good.
Crazy.
But dude, it was the shallow drag miss with that little sidearm thing was so it's just seared in my brain. Seared.
Y'all are idiots if you think that kid can't progress and be better.
I think he will.
By the way, didn't Eli in his second start throw 5 interceptions? Didn't Peyton Manning have a season as a rookie in the NFL where he threw 33 of them? You gotta give grace.
I am. I have a cousin named Grace. I love the name Grace. Grace is, Grace is amazing.
Yeah, Jesus gives it to you.
Yes.
The only reason that you're still alive by His grace.
You're gonna start making me sing hymnals.
Well, there you go. So none of your bold SEC opinions. You're still in on Georgia. You're still in. Okay. And we won't know anything about Georgia. Tennessee becomes so big.
Stock down, Bama. Stock A&M offensively up. Defensively for them down.
A&M versus Jeff Traylor's a good coach. So we're Georgia Tennessee becomes so sexy. I want Georgia Tennessee.
Aguilar was still ass. But I need you to do me a favor.
You thought Aguilar was ass?
He went 50%.
Blake. You can't say Joey Aguilar was ass.
Okay. Next week they face Georgia. And you're going to come in here on the Monday and be like, oh, Blake, I guess you were right. And I'm going to say, yeah, I was.
They don't play Georgia in 2 weeks. They play ETSU next week. Georgia's week 3.
That's what I said, in 2 weeks.
Okay, I thought you said next week. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you think game day goes to LSU Florida, or do you
LSU Florida? It's going to be a top 10 matchup.
Okay. Over Georgia Tennessee?
Yes. That's what I think. I have no inside info on that. I have no clue.
Either way, I would guess SEC Nation.
I mean, they went to Columbus, and LSU's in another primetime game, and they probably want to get to Baton Rouge. Yes, I do, because you got Texas coming in there in a couple of weeks, and you got Bama coming in there in a couple of weeks. So they're going to be at Georgia probably twice. They're not going to go there for Tennessee. Because what's LSU's next, big top 10 matchup at home?
It would be A&M or South Carolina. Yeah, well, I could see LSU South Carolina being game day.
Who does South Carolina play? Bring me off their schedule.
South Carolina's Vatech, SC State, Vanderbilt, at Missouri, Kentucky.
And then they have you.
Then bye week, then LSU.
And then LSU. Shit, yeah, they could be undefeated.
Yeah, and so the thing is, would game day go to undefeated LSU versus undefeated South Carolina, or they go to undefeated Oklahoma versus undefeated Texas? They're going to go to the State Fair, even though they went there last year.
State Fair, so they're probably going to be in Baton Rouge next week.
Let's go game day. Let's do it. Charles Alexander weekend.
It is.
Let's
Gold
go.
out. All right, buddy. We'll see you soon.